How's it going, everybody? C-RadTV back here in another video. So, of course, with the Lions off-season officially beginning, I thought I'd do my first official off-season video for this year. And, of course, one of the things I said I was going to do in the off-season was talk about the letter Martha Ford sent out to the fan base for the Lions. And I decided, you know what? Now that we're almost a week into the Lions off-season, I thought we'd just go over this letter. And we'll go through everything that's been said, and I'll explain what it means going forward for everybody here. So yeah, enough talk. Let's go ahead and I'll read you the letter point by point. Open letter to Lions fans. Our 2019 season has not gone as anticipated by anyone in our organization. Our team has played hard and well enough to be very competitive. It has been well documented that we are one of only 3 teams to have held the lead in each of our first 12 games. Unfortunately, all too often, we have come up a few plays without short of victory. Our current win-loss record is ultimately very disappointing. As we evaluate this season, we look just beyond just our record. We are striving to build a team with a strong foundation of high character players and coaches that is physically and mentally tough, with depth at every position and one that can be successful over many years, not just one season. We see signs of this foundation in our team's toughness, competitiveness, and culture. Injuries happen in the NFL and are never an excuse. Nothing less, our team has played through serious injuries this season to some of our best players. Despite the injuries, we have remained competitive in each game, and our team depth showed up as a strength. We also believe that the most successful teams in the league have a long-term plan, stability, and leadership, and exhibit patience to follow their plan. To that end, we are committed to year 3 of Coach Patricia's plan. To be clear, our expectations for the Lions to be a playoff contender in 2020. To our dedicated fans, you deserve a winning team that you are excited to cheer for and proud to represent. Our entire organization is working to make the Lions a consistently winning team. To our loyal season ticket members, thank you for your continued support. We're announcing today that once again there will be no price increases for season tickets at Ford Field, and several sections at the stadium will see price decreases. We want our fans to fill Ford Field for every game, continuing to make it the great home field advantage that inspires our players and make it difficult for our opponents. Thank you for your continued support. Happy holidays and go Lions. Sincerely, Martha Firestone Ford, Sheila Ford Hamp, and Rod Wood. Alright, so now that I've read the letter out to everybody, the best I possibly could, let's now go over this letter and see what it means going forward. So the first point I'll say here is, oddly enough, this has been the same letter Martha Ford had in the Lions organization has sent out to the fan base the last few years. Oddly enough. But yeah, let's go through each point, and I'll go through the main points, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. So yeah, the first point is the 2019 season has not gone as anticipated by anyone. That is a massive understatement. Like, that's understatement of the fucking decade. But yeah, but the first point I agree with is, yeah, the team did play hard and well enough to be very competitive and win games. They just couldn't seal the deal. Like it has been documented, the Lions have led in 14 out of 16 games this year. Only 3 times this year did the Lions lose by double digits. So a lot of the Lions' losses have been in close games. The problem is, the team just couldn't finish the job. Like 7 blown fourth quarter leads is evidence that this team could not finish the deal. Because this team needs to learn how to finish games if they're going to have success in the long-term future. Like, there is a strong foundation there. They just got to finish it. And yeah, injuries, they're not an excuse, but you know what? I get it. 4 or 5 injuries a year, I get it. It happens. But almost 20 players on IR? That's just ridiculous. Like, how are you supposed to win when almost half your team is injured? I said almost. Not half. I said almost half. Learn to listen, folks. But yeah, there is some truth in this. And yeah, the most successful teams in this league do have long-term plans. They have plans that help the team 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line. Not 1 or 2 years down the line. They're thinking long-term, not short-term. And you know what? You're not going to have any stability in leadership, and you're not going to have any culture if you're always firing and changing everything every 2 years. Like, you got to actually give it time and let it play out and see what you got. But yeah, the one point in that letter, though, is, now everyone's saying, oh, next year has to be playoffs or bust for the Lions. It does not say playoffs or bust anywhere in that letter. It says this team needs to be a playoff contender in 2020. Now, playoff contender means they don't have to make the playoffs, but they have to contend for a spot. Like they have to be playing meaningful games in December. Because this year, the Lions were eliminated before November even ended this year. It was true because Thanksgiving was just a few days before the end of November. So yeah, this team actually has to be in playoff contention in December. Like, they have to be within a game or two out. So I think for the Lions, I think the goal is that they need to go at least 7-9 or better next year to really, for Patricia and Quinn to stay, they need to go at least 7 or 9 or better. I'll say this, though. The problem is that this team cannot bring in talent. Because, especially in free agency, because this is not a free agent destination or a hot spot for a lot of free agents. Because no one ever goes in and says, oh boy, Detroit looks like a great place to raise my family. Let's go there. Nobody ever says that in free agency. Maybe in 5 to 10 years because the city's under redevelopment. Little Caesars Arena was the first part of this. But yeah, we all deserve a winning team, but it all takes time. It takes time. Okay, maybe when I said this team was rebuilding, that may have not been the correct term to use with the fans. Let me rephrase that. I meant to say retooling. Which is almost the same as rebuilding, but not exactly. So this team is retooling. And in terms of the Detroit team rebuilding, you may as soon add the Pistons to that list too if they trade Andre Drummond, because then that means they're blowing it up too. But yeah, anyway, point is that this letter is Mark the Fourth telling the entire fan base to be patient. You know what that letter also tells me? It also tells me in that video I did a couple weeks ago about where I stood with Matt Patricia and the Lions, when I said this fan base needs to be patient and has no patience. Guess what this letter just did, folks? It proved me right. It proved I was right. And that this fan base needs to be more patient with this. And by the way, going in the comments and saying, oh, we're too impatient that you ran out. You're not helping yourselves. You're also proving me right there. You want to prove me wrong, folks? Don't prove me right. That would be the first step. And of course, another thing is that the Ford family has also told Matt Patricia to make some major changes to his coaching staff. And which he has the last couple days. So let's go over all the changes. So, 6 coaches were fired right off the bat. Tight ends coach Chris White has been fired. Linebackers coach Al Golden has been fired, which was well-deserved. The linebacking core has been utter dog shit except for Helani Tavai. And Jared Davis, when you use him correctly, that's been the only highlights of this linebacking core. It's just Jared Davis needs to go to be the outside linebacker instead of in the middle. And leave Helani Tavai in the middle and move Jared Davis to outsider edge. Brian Stewart the secondary coach, has also been fired, which is well-deserved, because this secondary was utter fucking dog shit, getting torched every week. You can say lack of pass rush all you want, but secondary's got to come through too when there is a pass rush going. The special teams coordinator, John Bonamigo, has also been fired too. And this is after he won NFC Special Teams Coach of the Year. And what does this firing prove? It once again proves that coaching awards don't mean shit. Ask Dwayne Casey, the Pistons head coach. Dwayne Casey winning Coach of the Year didn't stop the Raptors from firing him after a 59-win season. Just saying. Also, the football performance coordinator, Harold Nash, has been also fired too. And Rodney Hill, the assistant strength and performance coordinator, has also been fired too. Which honestly is warranted too, with the number of injuries the Lions have had the last couple years, where everybody gets banged up worth a damn. So, that's really well deserved, because for the injuries, it's not on Patricia. It's honestly more on the strength and conditioning coaches and the players. The strength and conditioning coaches for not helping the players, teach them ways to prevent injury. And I also blame the players for their injuries too. Because at the end of the day, the players gotta be better at taking care of themselves on and off the field. But, yeah. I know a lot of people are still pissed because Patricia didn't get fired. Like, it was already say he was coming back, which is honestly good. Because he's not the problem. It's just the players aren't good. They're not executing. Not good enough. It showed throughout most of the year. They could not finish a game, like I already mentioned. But Bob Quinn, he needs to be better. Needs to get better at bringing talent in. And he needs to be better at drafting, too. He's had solid drafts, but this one, he really needs to hit the nail on it this year. With the 3rd overall pick, the Lions got unlimited options at it. You could go Derek Brown if Snacks does retire. You could go Okudah. I think Okudah might be the safest pick here. They could go Isaiah Simmons, like he has, because he's a linebacker and also could be a safety too. And, we could get the safety too to replace Quandre Diggs. Plus, he has the coverage too, which helps Jared Davis and Helani Tavai, since both of them suck ass at covering. But they're pretty good tacklers. And good at pass rushing. It's just both Davis and Tavai can't cover. That's just their main flaws. Also, there were 2 other notable coaches that stepped down. The offensive line coach, Jeff Davidson, has officially stepped down. It's not firing, but almost the same thing. Honestly, well warranted. The offensive line has been very terrible the last couple years. This year was a slight improvement, but not really. And also the big one, defensive coordinator Paul Pasqualoni has also stepped down too. So yeah, the one person we wanted gone this year is gone. Thank God. The sacrificial lamb has left the barn, folks. But yeah, for the defensive coordinator, I'm expected to be someone that has ties with Patricia or the Patriots. But, we'll have to see who it is in the coming weeks, All I say is they just should take their time and find the right guy. But, yeah. But yeah, for the offseason, this offseason is going to be crucial for the Lions going forward. If the Lions hit the nail on everything, there's a good chance they set themselves up well for the next decade. But if they really fuck this up, not only could Patricia and Quinn be gone, but also this team could set themselves back 5 years and put themselves in a massive hole to dig out of. So yeah, going to be a very interesting offseason though. And the question is, what are the Lions going to do with Darius Slay? Because keep in mind, Slay is in a contract year next year. And I honestly don't think Slay's coming back. I don't see Slay coming back. He's the one player from the Caldwell era that hasn't bought into Patricia's system. And I don't know how the fuck he made a Pro Bowl this year. Like, Darius Slay has played like utter trash all year. He's gotten torched by a lot of top receivers, and somehow he's still got in a Pro Bowl over Kenny Golladay. Honestly, Kenny Golladay is more worthy of the Pro Bowl than Darius Slay, without a doubt. Then again, the Pro Bowl is a fucking joke. Like, honestly, tell me this, folks. What exactly is on the line in the Pro Bowl? Other than money and pride. Like, take money and pride, knock it out of the equation. What's on the line? Oh, wait, I got all day. You got an answer? No? Exactly. Nothing else other than those 2 things. I mean, the one positive with Darius Slay making the Pro Bowl is that it does raise his trade value up. Because if Slate, because I have a feeling Slate's not going to be back. And if you know Slate's not going to be back, then the right thing to do is to trade him. Like, trade him, get something back for him in return, instead of have Slate next offseason walk and get nothing back in return. Like, it's always better to get something back for him in return, instead of have him walk and get nothing back and set yourselves in a hole. You gotta be smart. Hell, it was the one reason why we originally traded Golden Tate, because he wasn't gonna be back. So it's best to trade him and get something in return instead of nothing. And it was honestly the right move, since Slate went to the Giants the following season. But, yeah. What is there to say? But yeah, the big focus in the offseason is going to be trying to get a pass rush going. You know, that's going to be the biggest need entering the draft is pass rusher. Like, I imagine if Chase Young falls to the Lions at 3, I think there's very good chance the Lions take him at 3. Very strong chance the Lions would take him at 3. Even though Chase Young had a couple bad games to end his college career against Michigan, Wisconsin, and a playoff game against Clemson, you know, he's still a really good pass rusher regardless. You know, it's just sometimes, you have good games and you have bad games. And, you know, sometimes you can't really control when you're going to have those bad games. And it just happened that Chase Young's stretch of bad games happened at the worst possible time. You know, I think it's a 50-50 chance he goes to Washington. Yeah, I know Washington hired Ron Rivera, and I know they hired Jack Del Rio as their defensive coordinator. But there's a good chance the Redskins could go offense in the first round. Because the Redskins, they've taken 3 defensive pass rushers the last 3 years. Last year, the Redskins took Montez Sweat. The year before that, they took Deron Payne. And the year before that, they took Jonathan Allen. So, I mean, the calling card is up for offense. Like, I think the Redskins, I think they either take Andrew Thomas or they take Jerry Jeudy. Because the Redskins' receiving core is absolute fucking garbage. Like, their best weapons are tight ends. Of Jordan Reed when he's healthy and Vernon Davis. So yeah, the Redskins, they may need a receiver. But they can also address that in later rounds. But I would say the Redskins need to look at offensive line because, keep in mind, their one offensive tackle, Trent Williams, is not going to be around next season. Because he never signed an extension. And he sat out most of this year looking for a contract extension. So yeah, there's a good chance he's going to be gone, so the Redskins are going to have to address that need. And for Washington, and in Washington's perspective, if Dwayne Haskins is going to be their future quarterback going forward, their franchise quarterback, then they need to get his ass some protection and give him assets so he can be successful. So I would think offensive line or wide receiver could be who the Redskins go for. Even though a really good pass rushing duo, Montez Sweat and Chase Young, does sound promising for them. But, you know, I'd say give it 50-50. Either he goes to the Redskins or he doesn't. Unless the Bengals drink shitloads of mercury and take Chase Young at number 1, and they pass on Joe Burrow. I mean, if Joe Burrow, by some snowball chance in hell, if Burrow falls to the Lions at 3, I'm on the fence of taking him. Because even though I know we don't need a quarterback in the draft, or at least until later in the draft, it would be good to get our franchise quarterback of the future after Stafford. If Burrow falls to us, because Burrow played like a fucking beast. Like, he is the real deal. Like, 7 touchdowns and over 400 passing yards in 1 half? Fucking God. Damn. Like, Jesus Christ, I didn't think he'd open a whole can of whoop-ass on the Oklahoma like that in the playoffs a couple weeks ago. But damn. But yeah, you know, gonna be a long off season. But, yeah, what is there to say? You know, really free agency is gonna really dictate what the Lions do in the draft. I would say free agency, try and target the offense and maybe smaller positions on the defense. Try and get some depth in because depth was really a concern on this team. You know, had a lot of rookies in there. You know, try and get some players, you know, that fit the system, that fit the culture that Patricia and the Quinn are trying to build here. And yeah, of course, you know, maybe get some upgrades and the staff. And, you know, and the good news is when the season comes back, Matt Stafford will be healthy again. But yeah, this season also, what did this season show us? It officially showed us that Matt Stafford was never the problem to all these Stafford haters. Because notice how when Stafford went down, the team fell to shit. Isn't it weird how that works? But yeah. And that was a bad thing when Stafford went down. Like, that was when the injuries really kick-started this year. So it sort of seemed like Stafford's injury triggered the domino effect. Because then everybody else started to go down after. But yeah, of course, you know, offensive line going to be a big thing. I'd say trying to trust it in free agency. Because there's a lot of top offensive linemen that are supposed to be coming free agents in the offseason. So maybe try and target there. Try and find ones that really specialize in the run game. So we can get the run game going. I mean, if Kerryon Johnson can stay healthy, he could be lethal. And Bo Scarborough has looked really solid, too, as a power back. Hell, he almost had a 100-yard rushing game against Washington. He was 2 yards short. Damn it. And oh, by the way, did I mention that under Patricia, the Lions have had a better run game than under Caldwell? Because under Caldwell, the Lions had one of the worst running games in the league. With Patricia, they've gone a little better. They're still at the bottom, but almost around midfield. Let's put this in perspective. Under Jim Caldwell, the Lions had 0 running backs run for 100 yards in a game. Under Patricia, there have been 3 times a Lions running back has gone for over 100 yards or more. All 3 belong to Kerryon Johnson. Week 3 against New England in 2018. Week 7 against Miami in 2018. Week 4 against Kansas City this year. And Bo Scarborough, like I mentioned before, almost went for 102 against the Redskins. Fell 2 yards short. So yeah, 3 should have been 4 times. And people want to say Caldwell's a good coach somehow. Here's a question for everyone. If Caldwell's so good of a head coach, how come he hasn't had a head coaching job since he got fired? How is it that Caldwell has never gotten a head coaching job ever since he got fired? If he's so good, he should have got a job with Cleveland easily. Or the Redskins. But no. And people somehow say, oh, well, he revolutionized the Lions in the game. What the fuck did Jim Caldwell ever revolutionize with the Lions? What, Caldwell took a trash team and made it mediocre? Is that the revolution we're talking about here, folks? Like I said, this fan base is special. Can't put my finger on it, but there's something alright. But yeah. And folks, you can tell Mark DeFord to sell the team all you want. By the way, it's never gonna happen. And if you're gonna come up with better owners than Mark DeFord, you better come up with something better than Vince McMahon, for fuck's sakes. At least Mark DeFord understands this process and understands this shit takes time and needs to be patient. At this point, I honestly respect her more than most of this fan base. To be real with yous. But, you know, it is what it is, you know. Another long off-season ahead. Of course, you know, the off-season won't really kickstart until March when free agency starts up. And then the draft in April. Of course, yes, I am bringing back Free Agency Wars for another season. It will be 1 episode every week starting in March. And I will be doing draft previews around end of March, early April. Usually after a couple weeks after the Combine. So yeah, I do have those coming up. And by the way, folks, if you're going to come up with other reasons why the Lions suck, come up with something better than blaming the fan base for 60 plus years of losing. Like, the fans are the reason why the Lions suck? Get the fuck out of here with that dog shit. Like, fans are the reason why they suck? Come on. That sounds like some sellout bullshit Mike Valente in 97 won the ticket would come up with. God, give me a break. And oh, by the way, forgot to mention one more thing. You know what this letter also proves? It proves that every single one of these videos There Goes Moby has done, he was right in. Congrats, folks. You just proved There Goes Moby right. You want to prove him wrong? Stop proving him right. That would be the first step. Yeah, you can bash him all you want. You can call him an asshole all you want. You can bash him all you want for living in Ohio and being an Ohio State fan. You can bash him for that all you want. In the end, he was right. And at this point, I have more respect for Moby than most of this fan base. But yeah, but there's one thing I do disagree with what Moby said, though. The part where Moby said the Lions have the dumbest fan base. Correction, they have one of the dumbest, not the dumbest. I'm pretty sure NASCAR fans want to have a word with Moby out back. I'm pretty sure NASCAR has the dumbest fan base in all of pro sports. And oh shit, I just remembered. I'm going to be covering that topic next week on why NASCAR has the dumbest fan base in all of pro sports. And I think the reasons you'll see for that will trump everything Moby said. But yeah, that's going to be next week when I have time. But yeah, anyway, that's all I got to say for this video. Get my thoughts on the letter real quick. The problem is, the reason y'all want Patricia gone is because you don't like him. Because he rubs you the wrong way. And because you're still salty about the Caldwell firing. Like I said here, if you're still butthurt and salty over it, grow up and move on. Let it go. He ain't coming back. It's just that Patricia's style just rubs you all the wrong way. And you all need to grow up here and move on. Like calling Patricia an asshole because he let players practice in the snow? Man, give me a break. That builds toughness. I never had problems playing in the snow. I played a goddamn rugby game in the snow. What's your fucking excuse? Like, goddamn. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, folks. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah, peace out.